Hi everyone, it's Stephanie from Studio 23 Arts. Today I'm going to show you a few different ways to make your own acrylic paint skins if you don't have drippings. Like me, I have a messy drip off area. So the first one is to drizzle and then wreck it. So once you have your colors picked out, you just drizzle in the size of paint skin that you're wanting to do. I like to use the canvas boards still wrapped up. One advantage to that is just that it's easy to move your paint skins around once you have them finished. So it's really important not to put too much paint of the first color down initially. This is why I kind of keep going back and forth between the colors. If you put too much of the first color, all the other colors will just sink into it. So I just keep doing a little bit of each color, just random patterns, just drizzling it. And then once I'm done, just with a toothpick or a popsicle stick, just wreck it, make some designs, and then stretch it out. You don't have to stretch it too much. If you overstretch it, you'll end up with a paint skin too thin. But just enough that it stretches the designs out, and once you leave it, it will actually finish, it will develop further. So the second one is a straight pour, just like you would do as a painting. But when you're doing this, of course, keep in mind you're only wanting to make a small puddle, so you really don't need very much paint. But similar consistency as you would if you were doing a painting on canvas. So I like this one because you could really do this any way you want. You could do it like just a straight pour, you could do it as a ribbon pour, dirty pour, any way you want really. I like to start out with just a straight pour, and then I like to kind of make some designs around the edges. I find it actually makes some really cool designs for the earrings and pendants. So I never do just a straight pour. I always kind of move it around a lot just to make some really cool designs. And when you stretch it out, it stretches those designs out really neat. And one tip too, as far as when you're making your paint skins, I always try to include one color that's a metallic. I usually add iridescent sparkles to one color and then just one other solid color. Sometimes I'll use at least two metallic colors, but it really adds to the sparkle of your jewelry. So the third one is just a simple drizzle, and we're not going to wreck this one. So I wanted some jewelry just with some jewel tones, so that's why I picked these bright vivid colors. And this is just like the first one, just drizzling all over a little bit at a time. But this time we're not going to make any additional designs. Sometimes when you don't wreck it, it actually makes some really neat designs once you stretch it out. It doesn't look the same as you left it when you finish. Even when you finish stretching it out, it actually continues, the paints continue to intermix, and it leaves some really neat designs. And sometimes I find whatever size I make it isn't quite big enough, and I have a little paint left over, so I'll add a bit to the edges, or like here I noticed a solid block of color, so I added a little bit more paint just so that I didn't have a big block of one color. Or if that's what you want, if you want to leave more solid blocks here and there, you can do it's however you want to do it. There's no wrong way. So the fourth one, you can do a swipe. So you can do this really any way. You don't have to drizzle the paint on. You could make puddles, lines. I like the variability in color by drizzling the paint on. But just like with when you do your paintings, you can do swipes a number of different ways. The same thing here. You could do a swipe in any way for your paint skin. But I like to do it with the drizzle because then the colors you got to get a lot of variability in the colors. I've also done it a couple times where I make just small puddles everywhere as well. And this one I tend to make it more uniform shape just for ease of swiping, so more of a rectangle as opposed to a circle. And here's where I found that I had more paint left over, so I expanded it, made it a little bit bigger. Sometimes I never know how far the paint's going to go when I mix it up, so. But I love how these jewel tones went together. They really turned out pretty. And when you see the jewelry they end up making at the end, make sure you watch to the end, because I show all the jewelry that these skins end up making. They just turned out stunning with these jewel tones. I'll be swiping this with the lime green, and I just use a piece of plastic, and you can use anything, a palette knife, whatever you have, and that will work fine. When you do use silicone on a paint skin, it's important to make sure that you wash the paint skin with dish soap and water gently. As long as you wash the paint skin well, you shouldn't have any problem using it with your jewelry. But you want to make sure that you wash it. Otherwise, it should be fine to use. Wow, that turned out great. This is a diamond glaze glue that I use for gluing the cabochons onto the paint skins. So I like to just check both sides. Sometimes the back side looks good too. And I just move around and find a pattern that I like before gluing it. And once I find a spot I like, then I just put a dab of the diamond glaze on the back of the cabochon. And if you apply really firm pressure when you put it on, that should avoid any bubbles. And just make sure you wipe any excess glue around it. And I give it a second good firm press to make sure there's no bubbles. And I set it out to dry. It has to dry for about 3-4 hours. I often leave them overnight. You can store your paint skins in a Ziploc bag. I find that great. I have so many of them, so I can just pile them right on top of each other. So once they're dry, you just need to trim the edges. I double check and make sure everything is stuck really good. Sometimes there's a little edge that needs re-gluing. Smaller scissors work a little bit better than bigger scissors, so if you have a nice small pair, that works great. But once you have it all trimmed up, then it's ready to go, and you can glue in any setting you like. And just watch next for the beautiful jewelry it makes. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.